Hi, everyone. It's the title of the podcast that grabbed me this week. The title was Terrible. Thanks for asking. Someone I was speaking with sent me a link to a podcast that focused on the same issue we had been talking about. Forget about the relevance to our own issue. It was that title that grabbed me. It seemed that the hostess, Nora McInerney, noted that while most people answer the question, "How are you?" with fine or good, it's not always fine or good. And McInerney's podcast was about asking people to be honest about sharing their pain and how they feel about the hardest parts of their lives. She discovered that most people's sharing was complicated, to put it mildly. I don't think I even found one episode in the 314 plus to date that was just fine, which got me thinking, who would have made a very great guest on the show? Yaakov Avinu. After all, he was the first one who uttered the phrase, "Terrible, thank you very much." That's right. As he came down to Mitzrayim and was offered an invitation to speak with Paro, Paro greets him and asks him how old he was. And Yaakov responded that he's 130 years old and then quickly adds, Me'at v'ra'im hayu yemei shnei chayai. My years were few and awful. I didn't even get a chance to achieve in my lifetime that which my forefathers did. What a strange response to a question about one's age. Why does Yaakov respond the way he does? To a total stranger and an idolater and world superpower at that? Why is Yaakov bothering him with the tale of woe that Yaakov endured? And furthermore, while the people on Mark and Ernie's podcast respond to the question, "How are you?" before responding, "Terrible, thanks for asking," Yaakov doesn't even wait for the question. Why not? Ramban comments that Yaakov was seemingly giving up on the remaining time that he had left. And Daskena Mibale Atosos adds that Hashem punished Yaakov for answering the way that he did, and that he was due to lose a year of his life for every one of the 33 words that he uttered negatively to Paro. And thus he was supposed to live to 180, like his father, Yitzchak. But he lost 33 years and died at 147. So let's get that straight for a moment. Yaakov Avinu is punished and loses 33 years of his life because he answered the question, "How are you honestly?" Are we not allowed to have space to share our emotional difficulties? Do we always have to feel 100% or to lie in the process? It just seems too hard. Moreover, if you count the words that Yaakov recited, you only have 25, right? You get 33 words only if you add Paro's words, "How old are you?" So why is Yaakov also punished with the loss of years? Because Paro asked him a question. Are we better off not asking people how they are, lest they give the wrong answer and it costs them years of life? Doesn't seem too real. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz explains that Yaakov Avinu planned to simply give a bracha to Paro, and Paro was stunned by Yaakov's stress, which he seemed to wear on his face. It was the face and the strain on it that led Paro to ask, "Whoa, how old are you?" But in that regard, he was, according to Das Canaan, punished for externalizing his bitterness. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter pointed out that one's face is a Rishus Harabim, it's a public domain. It belongs not only to the one who owns the face, but also to the public who see it. And maybe that's why Chazal tell us that when we need to greet everyone, we need to greet them b'sever panim yafos, with a good face. Distress, anxiety, depression, they're all contagious. And when one externalizes his bitterness, then as they say, misery loves company, and the dark cloud settles in and it unloads. Allow me to add that this doesn't mean that one can't ever be upset or even express it. But the question is, where is it best expressed? If it's to someone who can help the situation, then there's a great value, even if it's just the unburdening aspect. But just to walk around sharing bitterness to an uninterested Paro serves no positive benefit, and it's actually useless. So how's one supposed to deal with the rest of the world community when he or she is distressed? And what would be a useful protocol? One suggestion is to focus on the real prize in life. Rashi notes that a person needs to be able to stop and take account of the chesed that Hashem performs for him. In fact, Rashi adds that he cannot understand how a person could possibly complain after recognizing all of the chesed that Hashem does for him. And Rabbi Leib Chasman compares this to a person who's won one of the largest lotteries in the world and breaks a small, cheap drinking glass in the middle of his celebration. Do you really think that the person really is going to distress over the glass at that moment in time? Rabbi Leib says most likely not. And thus, one suggestion for being able to overcome the distresses in life on your own is to look for and express gratitude. My dear mentor, Dr. David Pelkovitz, regularly encouraged those at his Shabbos table, whether it's his children, whether it was guests, etc., to share things that happened during the week that they're thankful for. He noted that consistent with the literature, he saw that the kids were more positive even during the week. You see, he said, when you need a report on things to be thankful for, you tend to be mindful of them all the time. Another suggestion is to work on hope. After knowing that we've made it thus far, there is room to hope for a more complete and bigger awareness of life plan to be revealed by Hashem in the future. And here Matisyahu Solomon adds that this was the challenge that Yaakov needed to overcome. He couldn't see the roeh, the shepherd, in the ra'ah, in the experience that he saw as evil, even though the roeh and the ra'ah come from the same shoresh, the guiding hand of Hashem in the experience. And certainly one of the means to combat an experience of ma'at v'ra'im is an awareness of and a seeking of the hand of Hashem and the bigger picture in the turbulence. It's hard, but it's a system that works in so many of our difficult mental health challenges. We turn to a higher power. We turn to find a bigger picture. We learn to rely on hope. Yeah, life's complex, and it's not always easy to carry out our burdens with grace. But the Torah teaches us that while we may encounter moments of pain, our response to those moments shape our legacy. Yaakov's response to his challenges reminds us that while one should acknowledge personal challenges in a receptive audience that can help him work through and beyond struggles, there's also no benefit and ultimately harm when we unburden to an audience that's not receptive. But the tools of cultivating gratitude and hope will direct us to appreciate not only the times that we've experienced, they'll also help us prepare and create even greater times ahead. And if you feel you have to say, terrible, thanks for asking, take a moment and think, isn't it really great that you had someone who even bothered to ask? This gratitude to be found, and perhaps a rally point to turn around, even in that. Wishing you and yours a wonderful Shabbos and a Shabbat Shalom to